The enchanted volumes that line your shelves are not merely objects of whimsy, but living archives of the emotions you've been too afraid to name. And true magic requires not curating a perfect collection for admiring patrons, but allowing the stories to read you until the shop becomes a sanctuary for the messy, unedited truth of being human. In the Tiny Magic Bookshop, August Bloom delivers a cozy fantasy that transforms the magical bookstore trope into a luminous exploration of bibliotherapy and embodied belonging, proving that in spaces defined by quiet wonder, healing isn't found in escaping reality, it's forged in the radical act of letting fiction hold what nonfiction cannot. This isn't merely another charming tale with talking grimoires. It's a psychologically precise narrative where every turned page feels like both comfort and confrontation. Consent to be transformed is negotiated through self-trust rather than assumed enchantment. And home means honoring the reader beneath the bookseller when commerce demands she remain a vendor of dreams. From the first parchment and tea narration, listeners are immersed in a world where stories are syntax and presence is the only true spell. Perfect for fans of emotionally intelligent, cozy fantasy and stories where female agency defies quaint expectations. This audiobook serves up atmospheric warmth, relentless emotional honesty, and a protagonist whose journey from anxious curator to sovereign keeper resonates with anyone who's ever mistaken organization for safety. When newly inherited bookshop owner Alara Vance discovers her late grandmother's shop responds to customers' unspoken grief rather than their stated requests, she expects magical chaos, not to realize the sentient shelves mirror the exact suppression she's endured beneath years of performative competence. And the reclusive bookbinder Julian Thorne's quiet refusal to fix the magic creates space for a partnership that defies retail convention. But as they navigate misplaced volumes and buried attractions, Alara realizes this inheritance isn't about maintenance, it's about recalibration. Bloom masterfully avoids reducing Alara to overwhelmed heiress or Julian to mysterious mentor. Instead, she crafts a relationship rooted in radical reciprocity within constraint, where trust is earned through honoring boundaries even as wonder blurs them, and where intimacy emerges from seeing each other beyond assigned roles. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional alchemy, capturing Alara's disciplined composure softening into genuine receptivity, and Julian's guarded precision revealing warmth beneath stoic vigilance. You don't just hear the shop awaken, you feel the seismic shift of two souls learning that some stories can only be shelved when you stop demanding they stay silent. What elevates the Tiny Magic Bookshop beyond typical cozy fare is its nuanced portrayal of magical commerce as somatic practice rather than escapist indulgence. Alara isn't merely running a business, she's confronting how literary culture taught her to equate worth with curation, challenging the notion that safety requires emotional detachment from the narrative she sells. Julian doesn't guide her through exposition. He creates sanctuary where her contradictions can exist without diminishment, honoring her autonomy even as his own conditioning surfaces. Their relationship evolves through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences during closing time rituals that bypass performance, establishing rhythms that protect both commercial integrity and psychological safety, and defending the shop's right to grieve against developers who mistake magic for inefficiency. Supporting characters add vital texture, regular patrons whose loyalty encodes suppressed sorrow, fellow shopkeepers whose wisdom carries intergenerational weight, even the building itself rendered as living archive whose warped floorboards absorb decades of unspoken bargains. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In economies built on extraction, tenderness is technique, and presence is the only sustainable resource. Even the fantasy mechanics serve thematic depth, with book matching mirroring emotional attunement, and shelf reorganization becoming metaphors for earned trust. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into sacred intimacy. The narrator embodies Alara and Julian with remarkable distinction. Alara's voice carries bright intelligence laced with dawning sovereignty, while Julian's low timbre trembles with suppressed tenderness beneath disciplined cadence, making their chemistry palpable even during quiet exchanges. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming immersion. Distant bell chimes marking temporal rhythm, rain against leaded windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed rustle of turning pages syncing with breath during moments of clarity, all anchor mythic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of bibliotherapy awakening, deliberate during reflection and allied building, then surging with urgency as external pressures collide with internal breakthroughs. Whether you're commuting through mundane landscapes or sitting in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and embodiment feels lifeline. Its storytelling is somatic validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where magic isn't found in perfection, but in permission.
Ultimately, the Tiny Magic Bookshop redefines cozy fantasy by centering female epistemology within literary frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for satisfying charm and catalytic resolution, while delivering substantive commentary on creative labor, masculine vulnerability, and the radical act of building partnerships based on mutual recognition rather than rescue. As book 1 in the Tiny Magic series, it establishes a foundation of emotional authenticity that promises depth throughout the saga, yet stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether wonder can coexist with wound, or if true mastery requires embracing what others sanitize, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply opening the cover. Press play, step across the threshold, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by fiction, hearts still find ways to be real. Your next favorite cozy fantasy isn't waiting in flawless enchantments. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to honor your whole story.